Pro Detailer podcast. Today we have another celebrity guest in the shape of Mr. Andrew Mooring.
Hello. I've never been called a celebrity before, but I'll take it.
In this company, everybody's a celebrity. We also have Mr. Ian of Sealy.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about all things detailing, supply, distribution, channels, products, industry trends, marketing trends, all sorts of things.
Stuff we should probably talk about normally anyway, really.
Yeah, but we're going to be using longer words.
Oh, very nice.
I know. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, first of all, Andrew Mooring, Marketing Director for Morelli Group, which owns Slim's Detailing.
Gotcha. And Slim's Detailing, Morelli Group is a family-run business.
Yeah, very much a family-run business. 7 directors, 5 of which are still family members. 3 cousins, a brother, and an auntie. So yeah, very much family run.
So, and you're third generation. So your grandfather started it.
Yeah, my grandfather is where the Slim comes from. His name was Challoner, and he was a very skinny man, and everybody called him Slim.
Oh, I see. And whereabouts did you start up?
The first business for Morelli Group was in Southgate, and then Southgate from there it spread to Chelmsford, to Ilford, to Uxbridge. It was all local areas where it just got very busy, and they just put another branch in.
And he started the business because he was in like the body shop trade or the coach building trade, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a coach builder. So he came from Harold Radford's Coach Builders, then set up his own body shop as such. In those days, panel beating, you didn't buy panels, you repaired the vehicle.
Yep.
So that was his...
Doesn't work with plastic these days.
No, the plastics tend to be bolted on, bolted off. But in those days, he had a body shop, background of panel beating, but the service was terrible. So he couldn't get the paint. So he thought, I can do better than this. Set up his own business, and very much on having full stocks. And his motto in the early days was, your stock is at the end of your telephone, and we kind of still use that today, but it's more at the end of your PC now.
Yes.
Or at the end of your phone.
And it was all about distributing effectively car body shop products.
Yeah. Paint was the primary product.
Yeah.
The consumables that go with that, and equipment like the spray guns and panel beating tools and things like that. And in those days, he took on 3M, U-Pole, brands that he would have had right through. We're in our 65th year next year.
Yeah. So you started in 57.
Yep, 1957, correct.
And you say brands like 3M and U-Pole, would that have been kind of later? Is that 70s or 80s, or is that more recent?
Well, we were trying to identify whether we could see what brands had been right through. And Valentine was the main paint brand, which isn't in existence as such nowadays, although there's still some sign of it in Europe. But certainly 3M and U-Pole and De Vilbis was the equipment manufacturer, as in spray guns, that we reckon probably have been with us from day one. Yeah.
And so cycle forward to, when are we talking now? First, the creation of Slims was 2014?
Yeah, about then. About 24, about seven years ago now. Yeah.
And I mean, in kind of a brief explanation being that you had a customer of yours, which was a reselling, and that went down, and you got a lot of stock back from them.
Yeah, they were buying 3M and Maguire's from us, which were 2 brands that we had. Maguire's were trying to push into the UK market with ourselves. They already had a presence, obviously, but they were trying to get us to sell more product in the UK through 3M after 3M took them over. And part of that was we took on this distributor as such who was selling the product. The business went sour as such, and we were left with a slight debt and some product that we didn't want anymore, and we looked at eBay and thought, let's just put it on eBay. But then we thought, well, look, this is something car related. They're selling products that we've got in stock. Let's have a little look at the business, which we did at the time with my colleague Matt Laybourne at the time. So give him a credit for where credit's due. It was certainly an idea of his.
Yeah, Matt, in fact, I was thinking the reason it reminded me is he wrote a smart repair article for issue 2, I think, potentially way back when.
Okay, potentially, yeah, definitely. He probably gave it to me to write and then claimed the credit. No, man.
Those days. And then, so one thing later on, now in the naming of Slims, obviously it's named after your grandfather.
Yep.
But there were a couple other names on the table, weren't there, when you were thinking about it?
We were kicking names around, Matt and I, in the early days, and I thought I'd absolutely nailed it when I came. basically we were looking at the gas monkey garage. So I'm thinking of something simian was where my mind was going, and I thought I'd nailed it with Chimp My Ride. It didn't quite work, as you can see.
You know what? I think you probably made the right decision ultimately.
Yeah, Matt came up with Slim's Detailing Emporium, and we dropped the Emporium, and it is what it is
and
now.
voila.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, simple enough.
And you've got a real style. It's kind of very much a kind of a. On the one hand, you've got Morelli, which is known for distribution and being a professional, big, organised company. On the flip side, you've got Slim's as a look, which is obviously it's B2C rather than B2B, which I suppose is a big distinction.
Yeah, we wanted a lifestyle brand with it. We looked at other people that were doing well in the industry as such, and it was all very clean and very white. And we just felt that there was as I say, the Gas Monkey Garage and that sort of business we were looking at the time, and just saying, what great brands and how they built their brand. And Slim's was something we wanted as a lifestyle company.
And you can see that even now, whereas if you look at your portfolio on the website, most companies have all the bottles cut out in white space because that's how you get it from the manufacturer, or if you're taking your own photos. But yours are in it, and I don't think apple crates were necessarily your invention. I think Auto Finesse might
I think
get
definitely
that credit.
I'd have to give Auto Finesse a bit of credit. We did some videos in the very early days with those guys, and it was a brand that was important to us early on, and still a brand that we sell now. And you have to say those guys have done a great job. And there was certainly some inspiration of what they'd done. I had an old wooden workbench at home, teamed up with an old fence panel that was in a pile of rubbish in the back garden, and hence our background.
Your
backdrop.
scene,
Our backdrop was set up.
Which, unless I'm mistaken, is still what you use now.
Absolutely, yeah. Generally, we use that now. There was a plan. We've got some old cars in the business, or in the family, should I say?
You can't call them that anymore.
No, not that. No. Some old cars, and my uncle has got an amazing garage and full of some really nice old cars, and started to look at using those as a backdrop, but those things come and go, so we thought we need to just set something that's just the way of the world, and
that's familiar.
That's
consistent.
Yeah, there was a consistency to it. Exactly.
And it's hard to steal now when we're hunting for artwork and stuff like that. We see, we'll see pictures like, you didn't take that photo.
You
essentially.
do find people taking the pictures, and obviously we do value them and protect them where we can. Yeah.
Quite rightly. So we then, when you started, what brands did you kind of kick off with?
Early days was very much Auto Finesse, Maguire's, 3M, Dodo, Auto Valet, Car Pro, and brands like that were just central to what was going on with the other business that we were taking on. Koch Chemie came in as well from Reap, and Swiss Vax as well was an important brand for us at the time. So
were you distributing Swiss Vax, or was that reselling?
Through Reap.
Reap.
So Reap were bringing it in at that point, and we decided that it was really important to have a high-end brand like that as well and G-Technique as well.
It makes your shop smell nice too.
Yeah. When I say Auto Valet Pro.
Valet Pro. I was sitting there thinking I'm embarrassed here.
So was I. I was thinking, I don't know who they are.
And most recently, of course, and this leads on to our one of the big topics that we want to hit, because it extends from what we're talking about in the magazine. You took on Car Pro.
Yep.
And Car Pro is primarily made in South Korea.
Correct. Yep.
And because I interviewed Craig, who you took it on from,
Absolutely,
or partially on from.
Craig was very kind to say that he identified us as being good distributors for the product when he was deciding that he wanted to quit.
Well, Craig is, I have to admit, I mean, we've worked briefly with the magazine with Arvi, who's the owner of it, who's in Cyprus. Cyprus. And obviously there's Gordon Muir, who's worked very closely with the brand as well for a long time. But Craig was brilliant. I mean, both in terms of supporting PVD members directly and in terms of the provision of it, is that we've in fact, we keep Craig on the group, even though he's no longer technically, working in our industry anymore, because he's so helpful. So it's great to see that going across. Yeah. However, at the more or less the same moment that you decided you took on Car Pro, we had lovely Brexit. Yep. So that was fun. And we've had a bit of a
nasty cough you got there.
Bit of a pandemic going on there. Is that insensitive? Probably is. I'll retract the cough formally. The combination of that has made life very difficult for you.
Yeah, I would definitely say don't try and take on a brand during a pandemic.
It's the old saying.
Yeah, the old saying, exactly. Yeah, just slip.
That's what I was told when I was
rolls off
young.
the lips, yeah. Yeah, it's been a really tough time to take on Car Pro because one thing that we've pride ourselves on is stock and stock holding. And you have to kind of appreciate that March 2020, we probably took it on April, May 2020, was really not great timing for us. And a culmination of things, obviously, the business just went rocketed.
In terms of lots of people at home trying to touch cars.
Furlough, money in pocket. What am I going to do? Car on the drive. They were cleaning their car. They were cleaning their dad's car. They were cleaning their brother's car.
Gets you out of building decking. I nearly got roped into building decking as a consequence, and I managed to avoid it for a whole year.
Yeah, well, you did very well to avoid that.
I mean, you got out of building it anyway because you got someone else to do it.
Yeah, in the end, that was
doesn't really count just putting the lights in at the end.
I think I saw some decking out there, so it's definitely been done.
Yeah. No, it's present crate. I did build a dog crate, like a massive, great big dog kennel thing, which is a bit creaky. But that's completely irrelevant to our conversation. So you had a huge boom in demand for all products. Huge boom in demand,
obviously a big draw on the product. World fleets, everybody decided that there's going to be a massive recession with the pandemic. So production lines were cut. I think some shipping was mothballed, put to one side. And obviously then when everybody didn't go into a massive depression and recession. Suddenly, the demand was there again, and
it's like throwing the grenade and then looking up after about 5 seconds, thinking, was that a 10-second fuse?
Yeah, exactly that. It was just mental. It just went. The business boomed, but all of a sudden, from getting product over in 8 weeks, we were looking at 16 weeks to get the product over, and it wasn't something that took 6 months to get to. It happened overnight. So all of a sudden first stock order, it's on the sea, but we're running out of this, we haven't got that. And the way we work is we really want to make that right, so we started arranging air freight.
But of course there's less air freight because what people don't realise when they're getting on their jets to go on holiday, underneath them any spare space is used by the likes of Royal Mail and the rest to transfer goods around. And
absolutely, and you don't start shipping 4-litre containers on air freight either.
No.
So the smaller products were coming on air freight just to keep us, so we had stocks.
Can you air freight ceramic coatings because they're quite volatile?
You can air freight certain products, and obviously we air freighted what we could.
Several thousand litres of tar and glue remover is probably not going to go down too well.
You think of the weight of the product. It's not good. And
with the explosion at the end, though.
Pressurized situations as well. And that's not just on us trying to get the stock. That's on the cans that are in the airline. And we had lots of air freight orders come over, and you just don't make any money on product that's air freighted. Having said that, the sea's trying to catch up with the price of air freight at the moment.
Yeah, they're doing a good job though. But you're saying how much? Say before pandemic.
Right. Okay. Before pandemic, we put a container on the ocean anywhere between £1,000 and £2,000.
From where to where?
From the Far East. So it could be China, could be Taiwan, could be Korea. So if you had a full container coming over, 40-foot container, anywhere between £1,000 and £2,000. Our current, most recent container that spent 10 weeks in dock, 8 to 10 weeks in dock before we could get it on a boat, has cost us £21,000.
And inside a container, roughly, what's the value
think
of the
goods? Think of a 40-foot container and think what you can get in there, because they've got software programs and they will pack it right to the roof. Yeah. So you get it pretty full.
Well, if it was full of top-end C Quartz Pro 5.0 or whatever we're at now.
We wouldn't put a whole container of that on the water. So that would generally be a pallet that's coming across, or several pallets coming across from Car Pro. So they would go into a container with something else. Yeah, absolutely. But our other business, Morelli, we will fill a container with panel stands, trestles for the body shop side of the business. But and slim stalls and slim Z creepers and other things that we brand.
I thought they were hewn by Englishmen in great old English towns.
We haven't found an English company that will make them for the money yet, but with the container prices going up.
Yes. Well, the reason I was asking about the total value of a container is, £21,000 is it's a sort of a lot of money.
Yes.
But if you've got £5 million worth of products in there, it's pennies still.
Exactly.
I wonder how much value a product
depends what you're bringing over. I mean, we deal with Sealy, who are a big tool company. Obviously.
I deal with Sealy too. He's a pain.
Different Sealy. And
you think so? I might be that one.
And they're very much looking at literally as product lands now, pricing it. So whereas normally they might have had one price increase a year, as the product lands, they price up what's in the container, and what it's cost to bring it across, and that's how much that product's going to cost.
Well, today it's been on the news, so I don't want to sort of date things too topically, but there was a big cable over to France that's gone snap, and so we've got less electricity and wholesale prices have been flying through the woods. Half of me is thinking every time you put your kettle on, it's going to say, this cup of tea is going to cost you £4. Do you say yes or no?
Well, have you got a smart meter?
Swipe your card first.
Yeah, exactly. I do have a smart meter. It's terrifying. Now every day it says we use £8 worth of electricity.
Yeah. Horrendous, and it's just everything is just a knock-on effect, and Brexit, as you say, had an effect as well. There's less lorry drivers, so again, the product sits wherever it sits, and I was saying earlier on about the Car Pro container that the customs decided to have an inspection on. I guess it's just a routine thing.
It's probably Brexit, because in the old days they weren't having to check stuff.
Well, we never
from
had
Europe.
anything checked before Brexit, put it that way. So,
for the sake of the podcast, go through that story again, because it's quite incredible how much a bit of bureaucracy can cost you.
Okay, so they decide that they're going to check this container because it's coming from South Korea, and I guess
which is part of Europe, isn't it? I'm sure.
I can understand North Korea checking it. But
so they then put that into storage in the docks because customs obviously are busy.
So they'll charge you for that.
They'll charge us the rates for keeping it stored at the docks. And they eventually get round to moving it to Milton Keynes, where they're going to inspect it, invite us to come and watch it be inspected.
Do they do that just for fear of it having illegal immigrants in? They think if they open the doors of Milton Keynes, they'll stay in there.
8 weeks it was in dock. I think it was about 6-8 weeks in dock before it got moved. Probably would have paid to the immigrants if there had been any.
Well, yes, I can see that.
So then they inspect it in Milton Keynes, and then they move it back to the dock rather than deliver it to Birmingham where it was going. And eventually we get it. And by that time, you're 2-3 orders that are coming behind that have started landing, so you're in a period of no product.
So do you have to prioritise customers? If somebody's ordered a bottle of X, and a bottle of X was on the first one, and a bottle of X is also on the second one, do you say to the customer?
We've always put product out of stock if it's out of stock. Mm-hmm. So the website won't generally sell product that's not in stock. Mm-hmm. So you just look bad because you've got nothing in stock.
Yeah. Even if it's only on the docks about 200 miles away.
It's in the country. It doesn't mean it's in stock. Yeah.
So I suppose and because obviously you as a distributor for various brands, but you do B2B to resellers. So if somebody, another reseller wants Koch Chemie, for example, in the UK, they need to order it through you.
Yeah, absolutely.
How does that? I imagine that on you know, because then there's a delay getting to you. There'll be therefore a delay getting to them. Therefore a delay there. The follow-on cost must be massive.
Yeah. We would try and communicate with resellers and let them know what the situation is. When we have product coming in, we'd let them know, get your order in, because we're going to be in good stock situation. Obviously, some take it well, some don't take it well, and it's very difficult moving stocks around as well, even going across even the UK waters, if you like, which we do to some resellers, is very, very difficult as well at the moment. So it's a difficult scenario for a lot of product. When you're moving containers and pallets, it's certainly a changing industry at the moment.
Yes, and as you're saying, internal shipping, I can imagine as you were saying, we've got a big DPD depot here, and now every other vehicle seems to be a DPD van, which is it's quite
the van's going through the roof because everybody's suddenly becoming a DPD driver.
Which I would normally moan about if it wasn't for the fact I paid £600 just before lockdown for a 220,000 mile 1999 Renault Master, which is now worth twice as much despite not having an MOT, which is brilliant. Yeah. I've just got to get bodies out of it before I sell it, because apparently that brings the value down.
That will bring the value down, but
it's not as much as the Subaru parts, isn't it?
No.
Second-hand values of vehicles are going crazy as well because of microchips. I can't get them as well. I guess you may have covered that in other podcasts, but I guess it's not necessarily about detailing. But your second-hand vehicle, just get it checked.
You say that, yeah. I was going to take the old Subaru Forester next to the Porsche dealership, and those people who can't get hold of a Macan, I'm like, look, I'll do this for half the price of a new Macan. So far hasn't worked, and only one restraining order. So that is, and you were writing, you gave us a lovely comment about how all this has challenged you in the magazine, and we wrote, it's this sort of perfect storm, isn't it? It's Brexit. The Suez Canal, of course, that didn't help.
The Suez Canal blocked up everybody, and they were queuing up behind it. So that slowed things down. Lorry drivers in the UK can't get enough lorry drivers, so therefore the containers are landing and they're sitting in the ports. Yeah, I'm told there's PPE in ports which is being stored by government, as in containers. So those containers are just sitting there with PPE. year in them. So therefore, the docks have got no space to unload things. And, it's just, I don't know how many stories I'm told and which ones are true now. It's got to that point.
It is pretty serious. And one thing is, if you listen to the news and stuff, everybody says, it's going to get better. It's going to get better. Well, today inflation was announced at 3%.
Yeah, 3.2.
If you're watching, if you're listening to the repeat, 5.5. And if you're listening to the second repeat,
if basically this is on Dave.
We've gone a bit. It's not called Rhodesia anymore. Where is Rhodesia? Zimbabwe.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, because at one point,
not for quite a few years, to be fair.
But
I don't think you were alive when it was Rhodesia.
That's a bit of a historic fact check, isn't it? There,
it was. Well, even so, they had like a billion million Rhodesian or Zimbabwean dollars, whatever, was worth about 50p at one point.
I think I was alive when that was all happening, but I can't remember it, I have to say.
Yeah, well, I can't remember yesterday, so
Yeah,
I remember when Turkish pounds was 64,000 to the pound or something like that.
Yeah,
that was when I went over there when I was like an 1830s thing, so quite a long time ago.
I just remember 10 francs the pound.
$1 franc's a baguette.
A lot of beer for your money or a lot of money for your beer?
Cool.
It's the Racky races.
Yeah. So in terms of the brands, obviously we talked about Car Pro.
Yep.
And what's interesting, obviously you've also got Malco Presta, you've got non-exclusive on 3M/Megs, because that comes in also through Daventry, doesn't it, with Megs UK?
Megs EU.
Absolutely, yeah. And they obviously distribute it around the UK to other distributors as well. So.
And they seem to look more at the kind of the Halford. I'm guessing they cater for Halfords and the likes of that.
That was interestingly when lockdown 1 happened. There was a massive boom in our Maguires and our Autoglim sales, which are products that are obviously very much available in Halfords. So that was an interesting thing to see, obviously, how that did change. And obviously other brands did very, very well during that period as well. But you notice things like that.
What does your smug face look like?
I'd have Halford shut any time.
There's Vonixx as well.
Vonixx is a bit of a niche one, really, in the UK for us. They had a good story behind the Carnauba wax and their own forests and everything else that went with it, and it was just an interesting brand.
So they were up for the last wax stock as well, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And I think that's where our first conversation started.
That's where you met them,
really. Yeah, absolutely.
I think 2-3 years ago, somebody from Vonixx came over and she was going up and down trying to find resellers. And what happened was...
That was about 5 years ago.
5 years ago?
Yeah, because it was just after we did the
last wax stock
in
was 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, God, it was 5 years ago.
Yeah, 2020 doesn't count.
And well, I felt really bad because I'd said, look, these are the big resellers. And I think she tried to get in contact with all of them and booked appointments. And I think she got 3 appointments and she came all the way over from Brazil.
I know.
And for
not easy travelling with those big fruit hats on.
Oh, you're going to prison. Anyway, almost everybody had cancelled on her. And so she made this huge trip. And she was only young, sort of thing. And so I was like, okay, right, well, we'll go. And we sort of talked about it. And she showed me all these brochures and stuff like this about how they're growing, all this stuff. I thought, this is really cool. Thought nothing of it. And then about, I guess, a couple of years after that, I saw they got a US side. And then that was exploding. I think it was SEMA or something. Suddenly, there's huge presence. And I was like, wow, this little, relatively small company. And, Malco Presta is also Brazil.
Okay.
Is it Brazil?
No, they're American.
Are they?
Yes.
I always thought, it's because Billy Martinez is from South America, I think.
Yes.
That's why I thought they were South American.
Okay, yes, he was. Yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, Billy. Yeah, he came over the first time they demonstrated to us.
Yeah. Massive, great, big wool pads about the size of a car.
Absolutely. He loved a wool pad and he loved cigars. Oh, no, pipes as well, if you got to know him that well. Into vintage pipes, yeah.
I didn't know that.
No,
I was just concerned with the size of wool things. At one point, the machine would stay still and the car would start spinning. Yeah. So they're Brazilian, and they've kind of gone for it. And then, lo and behold, I see it, Slims, you guys are taking it on. Have you got sole distributorship for them?
Malco Presta or Vonixx?
Vonixx.
No, I think there's other people in the UK do take it on, but our main sole distributor products are Malco Presta, Koch Chemie and Car Pro. So they're the 3.
And with Malco, because they're big on, because they're actually 2 separate organisations, Malco and Presta, they're kind of different ranges,
aren't they? One and the same company, but it's just a different branding.
Because they're quite body shoppy, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they've got hygiene and all sorts. They're a really big company in America. And again, that's another thing we've had massive issues with, getting product from them. They had same sort of lockdown scenarios going on over there that we did, but they've had real trouble getting staff back because their furlough scheme paid better than actually being at work.
Really? In America?
I know, it seems crazy, but they had real trouble getting people to come back in and work because they were getting covered so well within the system they came up with.
Plus, they had the big one-off checks out. I think twice.
That was it, yeah.
Trump gave out a couple of checks, didn't he?
Was that in Trumpy Chumpy time or was that in Biden time?
It was Trump.
Yeah, so again, suddenly you're placing an order for a product and it's taking them months to get it up as opposed to a couple of weeks and get it on a container. So, yeah, interesting.
Fascinating stuff.
Yeah, you mentioned Koch. So you bought... You took the rights to that from Reap, wasn't it? Yeah. What attracted you to Koch? Everyone knows Koch probably from H8 is their biggest detailing related known product, but they do a fantastic range of stuff.
Yeah, it was a very interesting company for us. I mean, our aim now is only to take products on, and really no aim to take any more on, should I say out loud now.
So don't email me.
Our aim is to sell from people that research and develop their own products, manufacture their own products. We could take on something being bottled every day of the week if you wanted to. There's always somebody offering you something. They're bottling beautiful packaging, but doesn't necessarily mean it's great in the package. And Koch Chemie and Car Pro certainly fit that very well. They develop their own products. They fill kind of slightly different parts of the market, if you like. Koch has got a real synergy with our body shop side. So volume wash, larger containers. We've got defleet companies. We've got vehicle second-hand car sellers using the product, doing a proper volume wash on a car, using that product and finishing off with one of the products that will leave a nice hydrophobic coating on it.
Yeah, Heart Wax is one that I was sent
Protector
originally.
Wax is the product. Spray. It goes on like a snow foam, washes off and leaves a nice coating. So
I have the original bottles when they first came to the UK with Group, and they're all in German still. And says one's got to say Hart Wash like that.
Flackenwas.
Exactly, it's brilliant. I have no idea, but they all taste different, and that's important.
Yes. Well, we have actually had. You say that we went to a Tesla day, open day, with one of our body shops, and we were there talking about some products there, saying this is pH neutral, and this guy, he was a bit like Basil Fawlty, and we've always been told the Tesla owners are a little bit strange. And
you turned up in a Tesla.
Yeah, I know, I did.
You can say that. Yeah.
He unscrews the cap, he dips his finger in it and licks it, and it was FSE, which is a detailer.
Oh well, that has a particular taste to it, though, because it's got it's alkaline. No, it's acidic, isn't it?
You're welcome to taste it. I'm not tasting any product.
Oh no, I have. I tasted all of them. I've got a special tasting straw. It's fine.
Okay. Well,
so what? Let's have a break, and we'll go and taste the full range. And when we come back, we'll give you our feedback.
Awesome. Hello, everybody. Just a quick note to say issue 13 is now out. It is 164 pages, and we've got interviews with Jim White. We've got a awesome colour matching guide with Kelly Harris. We've got the mega test on glass and so much more. Grab your copy at prodetailermagazine.com. And welcome back to the Pro Detailer podcast. We have got Mr. Andrew of Mooring in today from Slims, and we've been having a fascinating conversation about supply chains and stuff like that, which basically explaining why perhaps it's been more difficult to get hold of the products you want, or indeed prices have gone up and stuff like that. We've got a lot of suppliers increasing prices, but now we're going to turn more to the professional side of things and talk about the changing world of new car protection / detailing in car dealers, be it new car dealerships or used car dealerships. Yep. And so just to give you a bit of backdrop, a couple of issues ago, well, actually, how many issues ago? When did we do our NCP test?
Oh, that was that 10?
9 or 10.
9 or 10.
9 or 10. We did a new car.
Well, the alphas that decided not to show up.
Yes. And we used the new car protection products from the likes of Superguard, Diamond Bright, that sort of thing. And we applied them properly. We took the time to decon the car, and we actually found them pretty good, to be honest. There was nothing wrong with them.
Amazingly, they all work.
Yeah, they do.
Go figure.
Yeah, we've got professional detailers and home users around the country who have paid an awful lot of money for these products to supposedly apply to their car, and for whatever reason, the end results aren't great. And most of that is not the manufacturer and it's not the customer. So you just figure out the person in the middle. And as a result, independent detailers have always stood proud and above the kind of dealership valeter detailer because the quality of work, really.
Yep.
And actually, relatively speaking, value, because new car dealerships will be charging 500-600 quid for not applying something, whereas you get professional detailers at that sort of money, you can get a really good coating on your car and probably a single stage polish as well. However, dealerships, I mean, car sales has always been competitive, and so money's always at a premium and profit points are what they want. And historically, over the last, I guess, 20 years, it's been payment plans and finance and stuff
absolutely.
like that.
Upselling is a massive part of the industry. Yeah, absolutely.
And
I wish we had a tiny violin soundtrack on here for all the dealers struggling out there.
Yes.
I got this. No, it doesn't work.
No, it doesn't work. No. And they've obviously made money on the new car protections, but customers are being more discerning. They want the ceramic coatings. They want all this kind of high-end stuff. And dealers are realising that they need to essentially up their game. And from what I've heard, some of the higher-end car dealership groups have started putting in detailing studios and employing detailers, not just...
Yep, we've seen it ourselves, certainly. Yeah. I mean, obviously, without mentioning any dealership names, we do deal with some of the high-end dealerships, and they have been having conversations with us about detailing and coatings. And there's certainly, they have ways to market at the moment. And they're looking at other ways to market without saying too much because there's very little I can say at the moment because there's very little I've decided. I think the point is that all dealerships, all motor manufacturers can see that the internal combustion engine is having its last swan song, if you like.
Not here. No, there'll be a flat 6 here until the day I die.
Okay, well, you're still here.
Mostly out of the car.
Yeah, we're talking about next Tuesday anyway. So.
Yeah. They're having to look for other revenue streams, and there's no doubt about that. Smart repair has become one of them. Looking after the vehicles and having small and very immediate body shops on site to repair vehicles and turn them around quickly without having somebody come in a van, which again, going back 10, 15 years ago, they probably had an old transit van turn up and there'd be a guy in the back of the car park with a tent over him doing a small repair on $100,000 Bentley,
Yeah, and in the States, your typical car dealership will have a body shop attached to it.
Yeah, and I would say a large percentage of them in the UK now do as well. Certainly it's getting more back to where it was. It used to be that the body shop had the dealership had a body shop, and that kind of had gone away because there was money in servicing, there was money in sales, and the space was very important.
Yes.
And body shop was always seen as the dirty cousin, if you like.
We've all got a dirty cousin.
I'm going to let that comment go.
And let the mental image go.
And
Terence, if you're listening.
Sorry, and much more so now, body shops, as in a small, smart repair, maybe 2 or 3 guys working inside the dealership, whether it's doing wheel refurb, 1 panel, 2 panel of the vehicle, repairing a bumper, is much more the thing. And that's the same with detailing at the moment. I think a lot of it's outsourced, and they have somebody that does it for them, whereas there's no doubt that they are looking at any revenue stream that they can going forward, I think.
I do wonder if that's kind of been accelerated by the last year and a half, because so many of the detailing, independent detailers that these dealers have used have had to shut up for 6-12 months or whatever for furlough for.
Yeah, but I don't think they could have made that change during that period because they were shut as well, in theory.
Well, a lot of the car dealerships, they were deemed essential at one point, and they were allowed to open after the first one.
Okay, because the first one definitely showrooms were shut for a long time.
But
they were allowed to do handovers.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, it's certainly something that they're looking at. I say the whole buying model in the UK is going through a real change at the moment as well, isn't it? With the online resellers, second-hand
the
cars.
Tesla model, you buy it online and go to a non-distinct warehouse to pick it up.
Absolutely.
Well, also Polestar are now doing a rental, so not as in a conventional rental, but as in you literally just pay a certain amount a month and you'll get a car and you can opt in and out on a monthly basis.
20 years ago, I had a guy tell me from one of the big motor manufacturers that the way you're going to be having a car in the future is that you will just have a monthly fee to the motor manufacturer, and you'll have a convertible in the summer, you'll have a people mover when you're travelling around with the family, and you'll have a saloon car the rest of the year. And
It's how all industries are going. Spotify, Netflix, everything like that. It's on-demand convenience.
Monthly fee as well,
But everything on the never. I mean, Mercedes actually back in the 90s even had that idea when they tried, at one point, Mercedes, I believe, don't sue me if I'm wrong, intended to have a couple or three big dealerships in the UK to manage the whole lot. And there was a bit of a backlash from that one.
From the over 60s.
Speaking as a Mercedes owner, though.
I'm a post 2010 Mercedes owner when they started to become cool again.
Okay.
Are they cool again?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. Go with it. It's fine.
It depends where
They've
you read
always been cool for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I
do love a bit of walnut.
Yeah. It goes well with the Saga magazine. So what I want to kind of focus on is, what does this mean for your independent detailer? So previously you've been able to go to a dealership. In fact, you've even been paid by dealerships to do detailing. But you've certainly been competitive against them in the eyes of the private individual, because you offer a high quality of work for similar, if not better, money. Whereas now the dealers are bringing it inside. They're using professional detailers. I've seen quite a few professionals actually go for full-time employment, and they're offered, 25 to 35 grand a year stable income.
Yep.
Which is, if you've got a family and a mortgage and that sort of thing, that becomes more important than the potential of being a millionaire.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden you can't compete necessarily on quality anymore. And in terms of kit, a dealership's got more money, or at least better credit line, should we say, to buy all the latest kit and a nice studio. You've got customers are there already. I think the big win is if you're paying 300 quid a month for your car, and you say, right, do you want it to be PPF for 5 grand one off? They'll say no. But if they say, do you want to pay an extra 30 quid a month, and then you'll have a PPF car or a ceramic coated car or whatever, that's much easier to swallow. And it's all part of your nice, easy monthly payment. And your independent detailer, yes, you've got Klarna, you've got various other payment assist sort of models, but it's never truly on the never, because otherwise you end up with detailers being sort of credit unions and stuff like that, which they can't be. So the question is, how do you think, if you put yourself in the shoes of an independent detailer, how are you going to adapt and change to cope with the car dealerships starting to offer decent quality, potentially reasonable value detailing services directly to the customer?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting question. I think it's the same as any business, though. I think if you've got all your eggs in one dealership, so to speak, I think I would be very cautious. I think it's about having a spread of business going forward, and just being aware that any of those dealerships that you're dealing with have the potential to change their model overnight.
But it's not just those who are being paid by the dealerships to do the work. I'm talking about private individuals who go to the dealership, are offered their new car protection, they say no, and then they separately take it to a detailer.
Yeah.
I mean, the new car protection market is a significant chunk of quite a few. As you say, you can spread between new car protections and restoring and older cars and stuff like that. But if the dealerships start being competitive for the very service of detailing, then it's going to get quite difficult.
It could get difficult out there, but I do believe that there is still an element of quality to that work, and certainly people with private collections of vehicles are not going to suddenly be swayed by a dealership. In my view, personally, I think somebody's going to be, I've heard people say, I won't let anybody look after my vehicles other than
X, Y, Z.
Yeah, exactly, because that's just the person that's looked after and cared for them, and they built that business up. So I don't see anybody losing their position overnight. It's difficult to set up and gain that market in the first place. Certainly, I know a couple of guys that have gone back into jobs like you're talking about because it's that regular monthly payment or regular monthly wage that they're getting, and it takes them off the pressure of trying to chase around looking for another vehicle on any given day. So I think it's certainly something people need to be aware of. I don't see it changing overnight. I do know there is conversations in dealerships to be trying to capture some of this market. So I agree with you totally, it's happening. But whether it's going to people need to look at their business model really and just see where their business is coming from and just be aware.
And what they can offer, I suppose, because ultimately, for example, if you're a mobile detailer and you've got a private collection with a nice big garage, if that's you're not going to be in danger from that point of view.
Probably not from that one. But if you've got a guy that's just bought a brand new car and uses you, potentially, like you say, the dealership could come up with a deal that takes them away from them. There's always a possibility of that. I mean, adding strings to your bow as well. I mean, we get detailers all the time come to us and say, I want to train to do stone chip repair or PDR, and we train in PDR, train in stone chip repair, scuff and scratch in our training centre in Coventry. It's set very close to where we do our IMI courses on the detailing side of things. So, it's adding more strings to your bow as well, makes you more valuable to the customer.
Have you noticed with things like, for example, Car Pro? So as an example, as a kind of precursor to it, G-Technic are now very well entrenched in certain car dealership groups, and they're a premium brand. The only other premium brand kind of that's crosses between a retail product, a trade product, and a dealership product is, say, Autoglim. So their life shine's been going through dealerships for years and years and years. But with G-Technic hitting the dealerships successfully, you now basically control the fate of Car Pro in this country. Do you think that's
yes and no, we do and don't.
Okay.
Car Pro Professional is not under our banner. So the C Quartz Professional products fall under the banner of Gordon. Exactly. Yeah. So we don't have any control over that, and we sell the products associated behind that, if you like.
I see what you mean. Well, thinking laterally, Koch Chemie, of course, bought out their new ceramic product, which now Koch Chemie in Germany, and over here, as you were saying, in the body shop trade and stuff, they're big. But in Germany, they are like Autoglim Plus. They are such a household name, and they work with manufacturers. They've got approvals and all the rest of it. I was surprised how long it took them to come out with a ceramic, but what I was also
surprised a really good one as well, to be fair. We've had to play with it, and it really is a nice, easy on-off product.
Which is, and we've got, I'm just trying to think, the only other kind of trade stuff is AutoSmart got into ceramics a good couple of years ago now with the Matrix.
That was only last year.
It was only, but they must have been developing and got down. You can't just wake up and say, I'm going to do a ceramic coating. Hell, remember when we talked to Car Chem and they were like, we're developing it. About 5 years ago.
They were trying to make it themselves, though.
Yeah. But with the Koch Chemie one also was the size of the bottle.
Yeah.
Because normal ones are 30 ml or 50 ml, whereas a Koch Chemie one is 75 or 100. It's quite a chunky.
It's a chunky one. It's close to the sort of Kujitsu size bottles.
Yeah, the way the motor trade tends to like to work is to literally book something to the job. So I don't think the size of the bottle makes that much difference personally. Okay. They'll take a kit out of stock and they'll say that's completely for that Aston Martin we're doing tomorrow, and they'll charge it to the job. And at the end of the day, it's not generally the ceramic that is the cost of the job, it's the labour, and the fact that they're having it done professionally. So I don't see the price or the type or the bottling of these products as being a major part of what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Have you seen demand from dealerships for the Koch or any of the ceramics that you provide?
We're having conversations with a couple of the dealerships, but they're having conversations with many people. It would be wrong for me to say it's exclusive with us. But we have some very good body shop business, which is leading us into conversations on the valeting and the detailing side as well. I would say at this point there's nothing been said to us about anybody particularly wanting to do something and go down that route, or any one route. But there are conversations being had where, again, like you say, they're setting up detailing bays in this and this site, and these are going to be something we want to do going forward. Like you say, G-Technic are very well entrenched in that market, but it'll be interesting to see what happens going forward, I think.
Yeah, and I think it's quite careful. It's good, from a branding point of view, it's going to be quite interesting because G-Tech bought out Crystal, I think it's called, which is specifically for or Platinum rather. Platinum, which is specifically for the dealership. So it's not something you can buy on the street, and there's not a direct comparison. And equally with things like LifeShine and stuff, again, you can't just go on the website and buy it as an end user. You have to be kind of trade of some description. Kind of allows them to keep distinct.
Or in our case, on eBay.
On our case, on Black Market on eBay. Same goes for Superguard and all the rest, and all other brands apply. But my point being that I wonder if manufacturers if any other manufacturers are going to embrace the car dealership specifically from our side of the fence, from our kind of professional / enthusiast detailing side of the fence, like G-Technic have.
It's hard for me to speak for those manufacturers, but I think if they look at it and look at the amount of cars that a dealership, as in some of the big ones, and I'm very careful not to name any big dealerships in the UK.
Don't worry, we'll flash it up on the screen based on this.
You can. You think of the amount of cars they're selling, then it's only second nature for people to say, I want that to have a coating on it. I mean, again, going back to Tesla, which I can mention as a brand. We were at a site and somebody bought a Tesla and they said, I want that completely repainted before I get it. And I want it in piano finish black and I want it coated. And some people with lots of money will demand lots of different things, and that car was stripped and repainted before it was even sent to the person, and then coated and it was
Well, I mean, I suppose SVR at Land Rover, JLR, I've got that new site. They're all very busy and stuff, getting the bespoke side of the business going up. Bentley have obviously capitalised on it. Rolls-Royce, same. It's all about the kind of bespoke for the super rich.
Yeah, but, absolutely. Yeah.
I think the going back to the coatings a little bit, the problem that dealers are always going to have using products like ceramic coatings is, regardless of how much work they want to put into it, they are massively time consuming compared to something like 1K Nano, the polymer product that Koch makes, which is fantastic products, 18 months durability, I think, that sort of thing, really good gloss from it. It's really easy to apply, and it hides quite a lot of tint as well. With a ceramic coating, for a dealership that's pumping out 1 or 2 cars a day, that's doable with a decent team. For a dealership that's selling, these car supermarkets, everything like that are going through, 25 to 50 cars a day, plus at the weekends, it's just not possible to apply successfully these ceramic coatings, do all the preparation work, even if it's just
selling. It depends what you're selling.
Yeah, I mean, it obviously not with even without the likes of polishing over it. If you are just doing even a wipe down application, you've still got that holding period afterwards where the car can't leave. Yeah. Whereas someone could come to you in the morning for something like 1K Nano, buy a car and get something like 1K Nano put on there, come back later in the day and it's ready to pick up.
Yeah, these second-hand car sales sites, supermarkets, if you like. We deal with one that sells upwards of 800 cars a week, or it can do.
Yeah.
And part of the sale would be the upsell, your stereo, your finance, your insurance, and your coatings. And it depends what they're selling. If they're calling it a ceramic coating, that might be something else. But if they're saying we have a coating, we have, and it depends what they're selling. As I say, we know of most of them would be providing that as an upsell, and they would have a department where that was upsold and worked on and coated. I'm not saying they're products that we're selling them. I know some of the ones that we deal with are doing that, and they're not putting on products that we sell. They're putting on much simpler products, if you like.
That's a diplomatic.
Yeah, and I don't know what they're calling them when they're selling them. But I mean, again, likewise, it's the perception of what the person who drives off. We've had people literally run it into a wall and say that coating didn't do anything. Well, yeah, it's not going to stop a brick wall.
I need to do loads of layers for that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, again, maybe we look east rather than west and look at Japan. 80% of new cars sold in Japan are sold effectively with coatings.
Yep.
Now, I'm not well informed enough to know at what point those coatings are put on, but I think there they have much bigger detailers, so independent, but they're almost like body shops. They could have 50 cars in at once, and that is how they do it there. So it's not done by dealership, but it's done by
production line.
It is just that.
Yeah.
I suppose a lot of the cars there are JDM anyway. So probably if you did an initial delivery check, pre-delivery check on those cars, they're probably in a better state than they are by the time they've got all the way over here. So
they don't underseal either, do they?
Huh?
They don't underseal either, do they?
No, because they don't put salt. Well, they do, but not to the same extent because there's no salt on the roads there. So they don't feel the need to. But I always thought it was kind of surrounded by water.
There's a lot of salt water around Japan.
I was going to say, how they've not got salt on the roads.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, because also in the north of Japan, it gets pretty cold and snowy. I saw James May going around there, and he was in a coat.
They have mountains and everything.
Yeah, brilliant. I really want to go to Japan. We both really want to go to Japan.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's up there on mine as well. It's on my bucket list.
We're just trying to find... We obviously work a lot with Soft 99, which is great. We could go over there, we've got some magazines. We sell hundreds of magazines to Japan.
You need to go.
Yeah, we really want to go. Well, we need to go. We want to go.
You can justify it as a business trip.
Not sure, but we'll see. Maybe we go in those containers that you're taking so long to get there. Maybe we hide in them on the way back, because I can't imagine the Japanese are buying much from here anymore.
Just got to hope there's not a customs check. 16 weeks later.
Just pretend to be a model.
Yeah.
Okay, we go down a different avenue now. What I would like to do is ask you some quick fire questions.
Okay.
Now, normally we ask most of our guests are detailers.
Yep.
And so these are very much tailored to that. But I think all the ones we've got here will apply.
Okay.
And if anything, we get a nice variation in answers.
Okay.
So I'll take it from the top. What is your current car?
A Tesla Model S.
And it's bizarre because you got a bit lost coming out here in the sticks, and I called you up.
Actually, it found you perfectly. I just didn't know which house you were in.
Yeah, it was odd. And I looked out the window and I saw this white Tesla. I thought, nobody in this place has no Teslas like that. This must be one of them city folk from the smoke. So we've got a Tesla Model S, and it looked like the dual motor.
It is. Yeah, it's a long range one. Yeah, it's very much a company policy. Sorry, I didn't touch that.
That's the mandolin going on.
Yeah, a company policy
to have nice cars.
No, go electric. Directors are very much. We're looking at the moment as we're going towards carbon neutral. That's the aim. So,
out of interest, are you going that way with the delivery vans?
Yes, we're looking at that way. We do a lot of business with Stellantis, as in Citroen, Peugeot, and over the years we've done a lot of business with them. And
they bought out an electric one with all the gubbins from the E208 or something, haven't they?
Yeah, it's finding one that will do just range, because you don't want to be stopping halfway through your delivery round and charging. So
not round you, no.
No. So we're about 15, just approaching 15% of our fleet now is electric or hybrid. Wow. So we're getting there.
That's cool. Well, even I drive a hybrid, so
Okay.
Well, it's got a hybrid sticker on the back, and it burns almost as much oil as it does petrol.
You have to have a very large battery for it. So it is
a huge battery. It is a massive battery. Generally it is environmentally conscious, because I've got a 4.2 V8 and a 3.7 V8, and I drive the 3.7 most of the time.
That's excellent of you.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty decent. I'm expecting an award from Greenpeace, and I see a penguin, I want a thank you.
Well, we had the environment protests as our junction of the M25 yesterday. So
yeah, I saw some of those videos. It was getting
they just waved me through.
Yeah. Oh, of course they do.
No, they didn't.
No. Oh,
why not? No, because they just want people to insulate their lofts. It's not like a real environmental protest. They're just being irritating.
Yeah, well, I don't want to comment on things because I don't, want a dead rabbit through my letterbox. Actually, they probably wouldn't do that.
I'd love that. Dinner.
Well, yeah, as long as I'd have to check the level of
killing animals
rigor.
On your behalf.
No, they probably wouldn't, would they? No, it'd probably be something fetal. So yes, no, I don't want to upset the environmentalists, delegates. The second quickfire question in this quickfire round is first. Bizarrely, it says first Car Pro detailed. And at first that is first Car Pro detailed. And I'm like, this isn't making sense. So first car that you touch, because obviously you're not a pro detailer. You've got
absolutely not. And I wouldn't regard myself as an absolute mad detailer either. I like looking after.
There's only one type.
No, there's only one type, the mad type. I had a Mercedes convertible, Model E convertible. And I did look after that a lot better, because that came between two Navara pickups and before two more pickups. So the pickups I always felt should be dirty.
Well, yeah, because then people don't notice it. It's a big tax dodge.
That's why I had pickups.
Yeah, BIK.com.
So I had it was a bit of a midlife crisis, and it was in brown with a beige roof, which I got absolutely remorselessly slaughtered.
I quite like that. At least, unlike the Navara, it doesn't snap in the middle.
And a convertible's technically a pickup.
In a way, you'll pick something up. Yeah. I mean, probably later middle-aged men.
It had a lovely red tinge to the brown, and I did look after that, I have to say, and that was right at the sort of start of Slims as well. So I was learning a lot at that point. Yeah.
I see. In my head, I had the proper E-Class from the 90s. I don't know what the chassis number is because got a life in that, but the big E-Class convertibles, what were they called?
Oh, the CLK.
No. Before that, the ones based on the saloon car, not the hairdressers' cars. Anyway,
quick fire
questions. There we go. Dream car, favourite car that you'd want, money no object.
Porsche 911. Always hankered after a Porsche 911. Okay, I'm an 80s child.
You can't answer that without being more specific. Which generation of Porsche?
1980s.
993,
930. Does it need to be a turbo?
Turbo with the big flared arches. Yeah.
Okay.
Boom. I'm thinking 1980s.
You were going 993?
I was assuming 993.
No, I'm going 930. I think you want a 930. Do you want the flat nose or do you want the conventional?
I want the big buggy eyes.
Okay, yeah. So a 964 generation.
So they're all 911s to me.
Yeah.
So what wide arches, big buggy eyes, that's a 993 to me.
Big flared,
no, 993 is late 80s.
Big rubbery fin on the back.
Okay, well, it's slightly a matter of because the previous one,
picture?
The one in the 80s. Yeah, you go and get your internet. But the 80s.
Have you ever seen Bad Boys?
Yes.
That's a 993, I think.
No.
It's not?
No. That's a 964. You've got the 930, then you've got the 964, then you've got the 993. I like the 993 because it's delicate and effeminate. But if you want the big arches, the one that killed stockbrokers, and, we've got a lot to owe for it.
Then that's a 993.
No.
One back from that.
One back from that, which I think is Google 964, which is made complicated because there was another Porsche called something a 968, which was a separate model altogether, which was a V8. Which is what Clarkson went round and upset the whole of South America in.
Yeah, okay.
Or was that a 928? No, that was a 928. 968 was a four-cylinder.
That was the 2.8 with the rubber back.
Yeah, and the 9...
That's the baby.
6.4, okay.
964. So what you're saying is, I was right.
And I really regret
sold between 89 and 94.
Yeah.
Okay, well, what about a 993?
Just get on with the quick questions.
Therefore.
Okay, fire round.
Yeah. So where are we up to? We're up to... this is probably an irrelevant question, but DA or rotary?
DA. Safer. Although I've probably used more rotaries than DAs.
How many buckets do you like to do it with?
3.
And washing cars?
Hand washing cars. Yes, definitely.
Ceramic or wax?
Wax.
Yep. Ferrari or Porsche? We kind of know the answer to this question.
Have to say the Porsche.
To be fair, there's no wrong answer. But the next one, Subaru or Mitsubishi?
Well, I believe there's a Subaru on the drive outside, so I really love Subarus.
There we go. I'm not going to set the staffing on him. Flex or repairs?
I can't answer that because we sell both.
Oh, give me a wink.
No.
Oh. Dream car
Nothing
to
to do with
detail.
the polishers.
No, just generally. Just
getting
He's feeling a little bit down.
just for my self-esteem. Your dream car to detail?
Probably the Porsche 911. I just think the curves are amazing. Really
you see, we discussed this a little earlier, and I came up with what I thought was a fun joke, which was a Ford KA because it's small and quick to detail. And I
appreciated that.
I gave you full rights.
It's not massive, is it?
Well, the new one is. Have you seen how wide the new one is? It's ridiculous.
Yeah, not new. I'm old.
Old, yeah. We all are. So the decon question doesn't apply, but the Sunday drive or Sunday detail is a relevant question and one that I suspect I know the answer.
I'd take the drive.
Yeah. Everyone we've asked that so far has taken the drive.
That's what you got to come
993 was 94 to 98.
Yeah, so not that 80s. Yeah. I do like a 993. You're a fan of the 996, aren't you?
Yes.
Is that just because they're cheap? Or,
they're not cheap.
Well, relatively. They were the bargain of the 911.
They used to be, but not anymore.
Not anymore. People have...
They appear to have got older, much like myself.
I think all of these things are going up at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's time to buy one.
Well, you say that, but Porsche shot up. Going back to the kind of classic car stuff, they shot up in the last recession because it was a safe place to put the money. And then suddenly there were these really high-value ones. And about 2 years ago, an awful lot of auctions happened and not very many cars sold. But we will see. Anyway, we're coming to the end of our time here. So thank you very much, Andrew, for venturing all the way out here.
Pleasure.
And it has been enjoyable and insightful in equal measure. So
okay, thank you very much. It's not been too painful, hopefully.
I thought that's what you were saying the experience was like. Didn't hurt that much.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, we will be back on your screens fairly soon. So do keep
your audio
subscribed.
screens.
Your audio screens. Well, we're also filming this, but audio screens. And we will look forward to producing something else soon with a new person.